Hello everyone and welcome back to mountmoontcg. Well, with pre-release happening this weekend, I think it's about time that we celebrate that by looking at some of the best cards from the newest set, Astral Radiance. Astral Radiance is dropping in the United States May 27th, and it will be legal for the upcoming Milwaukee Regional. So there are many great cards in this set, a lot to choose from. So it was kind of difficult trying to figure out the best of the best. Well, that's kind of my job. As for today's video, I'm going to rank them the top 10 Pokemon cards from the Astral Radiance set. Now again, this is my personal opinion. So if you want to leave your own list of your top 10 cards, leave it in the comment section down below. And I can't wait to see what you think is going to be the best cards from this set. But first up, for some honorable mentions. First honorable mention I want to state is Machamp VMAX. Another honorable mention is Trekking Shoes. The last honorable mention card I want to talk about is Origin Form Dialga V-Star. So with those out of the way, we finally come to my top 10 list. And at number 10, we have Roxanne. Roxanne is a supporter card, and you can only play Roxanne if your opponent has 3 or less prize cards remaining. Each player shuffles their hand into their deck. You draw 6 cards, and your opponent draws 2. This is very similar to Ace Trainer, which you can only play if you had more prize cards than your opponent. You each shuffle your hand into your deck. You draw 6 cards, and your opponent draws 3. So, it's another one of those annoying shuffle draw supporter cards. Also very similarly, it's kind of like N, but N, unlike Ace Trainer or Roxanne, you can play whenever you wanted. You didn't have to have a certain prize advantage or prize disadvantage to play it. It makes the number 10 because it's a very annoying supporter card that if your opponent is really ahead in the game, you can make them shuffle, draw 2, and you could stall them out. And they have nothing to do. You come back and win the game. So that's why Roxanne is at the number 10 on the list. Now at number 9, we come to Starmie V. Starmie V is a water-type Pokemon with 190 HP, weakness to lightning, and no retreat cost, which is very nice. Its first attack we're not really too concerned with, but we'll mention it here. For 2 colorless energy, it does 50 damage. And then the damage is not affected by effects on your opponent's Pokemon, which is okay. But I mean, 50 is not too much damage, so I don't think we're going to worry too much about it. No, the attack that I'm really interested in is the next one. For 2 water energy, it's called Energy Spiral. It does 50 times the amount of energy attached to all of your opponent's Pokemon. So here we got a really fun attack. If you're going against a deck like Darkrai or Arceus or Grass, I mean, if they have 5 or 6 energy on the field, you're doing 250, 300 damage for 2 energy. That can be very huge. So it makes players, have to think a little bit more about where they place their energy, how much energy they want to place. So Starmie V looks like a very interesting card. And you can power up in 1 turn with your Melanie, the supporter card where you take 1 energy from your discard pile, put it onto Starmie V, draw 3 cards, get another water energy, attach it, switch, boom, you're doing a lot of damage if your opponent has a lot of energy in play. Coming in at number 8, we have Hisuian Lilligant V-Star. Hisuian Lilligant, say that 5 times fast. Hisuian Lilligant, Hisuian Lilligant, I can't do it. Hisuian Lilligant has 260 HP. It's weak to fire, which is kind of unfortunate, but it is what it is, it's grass type. It has 1 retreat cost, and it has the attack Parallel Spin. For 2 grass energy and a colorless energy, it does 130 damage, plus 100 damage more if you put an energy card from Lilligant into your hand. So this can be quite interesting with Gardenia's Vitality that we'll talk about later. So this attack seems pretty decent. You can do 230 if you put the energy card back into your hand. If you play something like Gape Draw Bog and they have 2 damage counters on them from earlier, that's 250, plus the Choice Belt, that's 280 damage. Which again, 280 damage is very relevant in this current day of Pokemon. you're pretty much one-shotting all V-Stars, especially that very annoying Arceus V-Star. Now that energy that you put back into your hand from last turn, you can use Gardenia's Vitality to put it back on one of your bench Pokemon. So you're kind of saving that energy for later in case Lilligant gets knocked out next turn. Its V-Star power is called Star Perfume. Search your deck for a combination of grass Pokemon and grass energy and put them into your hand. This could be very interesting in a pinch in case you need that grass energy right away. You know, for if you don't play energy search and things like that to find your energy. But I just wonder if the Lilligant decks are going to play cards like Shaman V-Star or Leafeon V-Star, because I think Leafeon V-Star's star power is better than Lilligant's star power. With Leafeon, it's basically a boss's orders for free. Yeah, that's pretty good. So I don't know if this V-Star power is going to get used as much. Plus with these grass decks now, they have cards like Kricketune that can add 40 HP to the Pokemon. So you go from 260 to 300. Also, if you can add a big Charm, you have 330 HP. Now that's a lot of HP. That's going into the VMAX territory of HPs. So with cards like Gardenia's Vitality, which I will talk about later, you can skip ahead later in the video. If you want to learn more about Gardenia's Vitality, then come back here. You'll see why I have put Hisuian Lilligant V-Star as number 8 on this list. In at number 7, we have Darkrai V-Star. Now for those of you that have been on this channel since the beginning, you know that I love me some Darkrai. To make a long story short, Darkrai EX, back in the Black and White era, was one of my favorite decks. It was one of my very first competitive decks, so to see Darkrai coming back into the format makes me very happy. Darkrai V-Star has 270 HP, it's weak to grass, not fighting this time, has a 2 retreat cost, and let me tell you, I'm going to play me some Darkrai V-Star when it comes out. And I'm going to use it for the attack. For 2 colors energy, Dark Pulse. It does 30 base damage and 30 more for each darkness energy attached to all of your Pokemon. So 30 plus 30 for each darkness energy attached to all of your Pokemon? How are we going to get all that energy into play? Well, you have cards like Galarian Moltres V that can get darkness energy from the discard pile attached to Moltres V. And then you also have the baby Moltres too, which you can put 2 energy onto it when you put it from your hand onto your bench. There's also a Galarian Weezing that for each darkness energy attached to it, it counts as 2, which is pretty interesting. And then of course the piece de resistance, the thing that helps all dark decks out, is Dark Patch. We will talk about Dark Patch a little bit more. Shh, that's another spoiler for later in the video. So you have a lot of things that you can use to get darkness energy into play as quick as possible. Now that we had a look at the attack, let's look at the V-Star power. Star Abyss. Put 2 item cards from your discard pile into your hand. This is very similar to Junk Hunt Sableye back in the Black and White era. So now you can kind of see why I'm kind of liking this Darkrai card, because it reminds me of the deck as a whole. You have your Junk Hunt from Sableye brought to Darkrai V-Star, and then you have cards like Dark Patch that were also in that old Darkrai deck coming back. Dark Patch I will mention later, but it's very similar to Metal Saucer, where you put a darkness energy from your discard pile to one of your darkness Pokemon. So there's a lot of reasons why Darkrai V-Star could see a lot of success coming up. Next, at number 6, I did a little bit of a cop-out, and I put a pair of Stadium cards, which I think can impact the format a whole lot. And they are Gapejaw Bog and Temple of Sinnoh. Gapejaw Bog I did mention a little bit earlier when I talked about Machamp VMAX. But again, I will state it one more time. Gapejaw Bog, when any player benches a basic Pokemon from their hand onto the bench, put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. Now this, besides helping out with Machamp VMAX, can also help you because your opponent also has to put damage counters on their Pokemon and can help you with some math later down the line. It really makes your opponent think when they want to put that Pokemon from their hand onto the bench. Now this is only basic Pokemon, so if they evolve, that's no big deal. So you can play cards like Sobble, Oranguru, B-Barrel, and stuff like that, because you really don't care if 2 damage counters go on it. Because, I mean, you can use Scoop Up Net to put them back into your hand, and then, of course, bench it, and then put more damage counters on it, etc., etc. The next stadium card we'll talk about is Temple of Sinnoh. When Temple of Sinnoh is in play, all special energy cards in play become 1 colorless energy and have no other effects. This can be very huge against Arceus decks, which like to use double turbo energy. So now that double turbo energy is only 1 colorless energy. But then again, it gets rid of does 20 less damage to your opponent, so that can be kind of annoying. But also, it can be very annoying to Mew VMAX decks, which likes to use those special energy cards because Meloetta likes to do more damage for those special energy in play. But if they become 1 colorless, does that mean it does less damage? I think it does. I really do think it does. I'd have to read the wording, but I think that's what it does. Also, this could be good against Malamar decks. It turns those spiral energies into colorless energies, so now they can't attack. So, Temple of Sinnoh is going to be very annoying for some of those decks that play special energy. Next, at number 5, we did talk about this a little bit earlier, we have Dark Patch. As I mentioned, Dark Patch is an item card that lets you attach a basic darkness energy from your discard pile to a benched dark Pokemon. Again, it helps with Darkrai, which we talked about a little bit earlier, but it can also help with other dark Pokemon like Hisuian Samurott V-Star, Moltres V, Sableye V, and so on and so forth. With cards like Dark Patch and Rihan that lets you accelerate energy really quick, dark decks could be a force to be reckoned with in the next format. At number 4, we have a tool card called Super Effective Glasses. Super Effective Glasses states that the Pokemon that this card is attached to does 3 times weakness to the defending Pokemon. Yeah, not times 2 weakness, times 3 weakness. So that means if you're doing 60 damage to an opponent normally, but if they're weak to you, it becomes times 3. So that 60 becomes 180 damage, which is a lot. This card will be seen in some Zoroark box decks, because Zoroark is very tricky to deal with. When Zoroark's on the field, it can basically turn into any stage 1 Pokemon in the discard pile. So you can choose a grass stage 1, a water stage 1, whatever kind of weakness you're going up against, and then you slap the Super Effective Glasses on it, and then you can turn that 120 into a 360 for damage. That's enough to one-shot any VMAX. So you better have a lot of stage 1 Pokemon that can do 120 damage. I know there's a Don fan that does 120 damage for 1 energy. So if you're going against a fighting weak deck like Arceus and they don't have Dunsparce, oh boy, you're doing overkill. Let me tell you that much. So Super Effective Glasses could be a huge pain in the butt. Keep a lookout for that in Zoroark box decks, because if you're not ready for it, buddy, you're gonna be in for a world of hurt. At number 3, we have Gardenia's Vitality. Gardenia's Vitality is a supporter card. You draw 2 cards, then attach up to 2 grass energy from your hand to one of your benched Pokemon. I did mention this card a little bit earlier in Hisuian Lilligant. My only gripe with Gardenia's Vitality is you can only put it onto benched Pokemon. But we do have cards like Switch and Air Balloon in the format, which you can easily retreat or switch to the bench Pokemon that you used Gardenia's Vitality on. This card is very similar to Welder decks a couple of years ago, but Welder was a little bit different. You had to put the energy onto your Pokemon first, and then draw 3 cards. So you could say it's a little bit better because you can put it anywhere, and you draw one more card. But Gardenia's Vitality you could argue is a little bit stronger because you draw the 2 cards first and then attach the Grass Energy. So if you don't have the Grass Energy in your hand, you can draw your 2 cards, maybe potentially draw 1, maybe 2 Grass Energy, and then attach them to one of your bench Pokemon. So this can get you your Hisuian Lilligant powered up 1 turn by using Gardenia's Vitality and attaching per turn. So with this energy acceleration for grass Pokemon now, it's easy to see why Gardenia's Vitality is in at number 3. Number 2, we have Radiant Greninja. Now Radiant Greninja has the Radiant rule, which states that you can only have 1 Radiant Pokemon in your deck. Now this might not be all bad as you think, because even if this Pokemon gets knocked out, it's not like the Prism Star cards that we had a couple of years ago, like Ditto Prism Star, Diancie Prism Star, where if they were knocked out or got discarded, they went to the Lost Zone and you could never get them back. Here you kind of just treat them like a normal Pokemon, so if you discard them or it gets knocked out, they go to the discard pile. Then you can use cards like Ordinary Rod or Clara to get them back into your deck or into your hand. So it's not a total loss to have only 1 in the deck. Greninja's ability is called Concealed Cards. Really, that's the ability name for it. Oh well, if you know the joke here, you know the joke. I'm not going to say it on camera. The ability Concealed Cards, I'm never going to get over that ability name, discard an energy card to draw 2 cards. So it's very similar to Trade, like on Zoroark GX. And you know me, I love some Zoroark GX and I love that ability. Now the discarding of the energy card can be really good for cards like Rihan or Melanie, and then you can use that card when you play the supporter to attach that energy right away. So you discard the energy, you draw 2 cards, you draw your Melanie, you use the Melanie to attach the energy, the water energy in this case, or the Rihan, to attach it to one of your Pokemon and then do what either Melanie or Rihan says. The attack for 2 water and a colorless is called Moonlight Shuriken. Discard 2 energy and does 90 to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. This card can make decks like Arceus and Teleon really good, for the reason that I stated before, where you discard the energy and then you can use Melanie or Rihan to put it back on your Pokemon. So this is a very interesting card for a lot of decks. Besides Arceus and Teleon, you can use it for Darkrai to get the darkness energy into the discard pile, use the Dark Patch. Yeah, there's a lot of ways you can manipulate the energy that you put in the discard pile to put it back into play later. In at number 1, we have Origin Form Palkia V-Star. Origin Form Palkia V-Star has 280 HP, it's weak to lightning, and has 2 retreat cost. For 2 water energy, it's called Subspace Swell. It does 60 base damage and 20 more for each benched Pokemon on both players' benches. So if both players have a full bench, that's 200 damage, plus the 60 base. Add a Choice Belt. I might have called it Choice Band earlier, I do apologize for that. Choice Belt. And you're doing 290 damage, which, you know, you're knocking up all V-Stars at this point. So that is a really good attack for 2 energy. Its V-Star power is called Star Portal. Attach 3 water energy cards from your discard pile to your water Pokemon in any way you like. So there is a lot of manipulation when it comes to your energies in the discard pile and attach them to your Pokemon any way you like, basically. So Palkia V-Star, with it having such a great attack, a great V-Star power with great support, like Inteleon, or you can use the Radiant Greninja. There's a lot of things to be excited about if you like water decks. Palkia V-Star is going to be one of the best decks in the upcoming format, and I can't wait to try it out myself. So there you have it, guys, is my top 10 list for the best cards out of Astral Radiance. Which cards are you really excited about? Which decks are you willing to try? What is your top 10 list? Do you not agree with my list? Let me know your list in the comment section down below. Make sure you hit that like button, share, and subscribe for more content here on mountmoontcg. Coming up next, later in the week, we'll have some pre-release kit openings, some booster box openings, so it's a very exciting time here. We'll see you next time.